Oh, hello there. Welcome to a very, very nice episode of the Just Gaming Tingz Podcast, episode 69 of our all queer gaming podcast featuring yours truly, Project Ruby. And today I'm joined by the lovely Koga Jangles. Hi.
Hello.
Hello, hello. It's just the two of us today, a very intimate podcast for a very special number.
Yes, 69.
Yes, very, very important number.
Very
Some would say that 100 is the most important episode, but for us, it's probably 100 too. But we're also gonna, celebrate 69 because it's a good accomplishment, you know? We've been doing this for 69, not consecutive weeks, but close enough, right? Close enough.
right. Yeah, plus you can only do it once because when you get to 138, it just don't hit the same way.
Yeah. I mean, we could do 169. That's
Yes,
always
every 69. Celebrate.
exactly. Instead of celebrating every 100, we do every well, technically it would still be every 100, but it would be every 169, which,
Every 100, then 69. So then, yeah, of course.
yeah, sure, we'll go with that. But there aren't too many things going on gaming. Well, there are some things going on gaming related, but for the sake of us not repeating ourselves too much, we are going to talk a little bit, just a little bit about this week's state of play because it was probably the biggest piece of news that came from the gaming industry. And yeah, so Wednesday, right? There was
Uh,
I think so,
me-
right? Yeah,
yeah,
Wednesday.
yeah, it was Wednesday. Wednesday was when it happened.
Yep.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I forgot about it until I was because I get off at 4:30. I think it started 4 Central Time, and then I'm like, oh, that's happening. Oh, great. And then we'll get into what the one I wanted to see, but I saw that and I'm like, oh, this is happening. Okay.
Right.
Luckily, it's not PlayStation exclusive. Thank the gaming gods.
We'll definitely get into it. Yeah, it happened March 9th, Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, not 100, 11 p.m. Central Europe. Um, so I actually did react to this on my own channel. I didn't mean for it because I was kind of like, oh, it's gonna be pretty late for me. I don't know. But then my stream just kept on going, and I was like, I mean, we might as well just stay for another hour and react to this, right? And then we ended up doing it, and actually, the our lovely co-host Pans Trebian ended up joining me as well for an impromptu reaction moment. Um, but generally speaking, I will say it wasn't like the most exciting state of play that we've ever seen. And they did kind of set expectations beforehand too, to kind of be like, this is gonna be like our Japanese studios and like first not first parties, third parties, not first, third parties. And no hardware, no VR, none of the sort, so people wouldn't think there would be like God of War news or anything of the sort.
People
So,
still thought it anyway.
I mean, yeah, I
I
mean,
saw the comments and people were still thinking God of War. I'm like, oh my God, no, there's not gonna be no
yeah,
God of War.
people love putting on their clown makeup right before all these presentations. And listen, I'm pretty delusional at times as far as these presentations go too, so I get it. I understand. But yeah, if we're gonna talk about some highlights, you did say that you had one main one and probably the only one really from your perspective. So why don't we start with that?
Yep. So because for the state of play, I guess they decided to do it there. Our lords Konami, of all people, surprisingly,
Right.
are releasing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the Cowabunga collection sometime later this year. Just says 2022. So I yeah, hopefully by the end of the year. So I started watching the trailer on this, and I'm thinking, okay, I thought it was just going to be like the arcade Ninja Turtles and then Turtles in Time. No, we're getting like 13 something games from like consoles, and then including those two. So we're getting like, I'm gonna have to look at this again because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna forget stuff because so many. Like
Mm-hmm.
you get like the Turtles in Time, of course the arcade Turtles, the Turtles in Time arcade, then the first Ninja Turtles game that I mean some people liked, some people didn't. The second one that was on NES that was based off of the first arcade game, Turtles 3, which was the Manhattan Project, and then Turtles 4, Turtles in Time, which is the Super Nintendo version, which it'll be debatable depending on some people feel that one is better than the other between that and the arcade version because the Super Nintendo version had like more stages and whatnot, but the arcade version has like better animations and things like that. It also has the Hyperstone Heights, which was like the Sega Genesis version of Turtles in Time, kind of, but was different. Like it looked like it, but it was different. I haven't, funny enough, I haven't played that one. I didn't have it when I was a kid because we just got what we can get. Okay. Then there's one on, I'm not sure if it was just one on Game Boy or two. I see it was the Radical Rescue. So that's the one that's on Game Boy that are here as well. And then they're releasing Turtle Fighter. Oh my goodness, Tournament Fighters. All three of them. The one that was on NES that I never even seen until like a few years ago. The Sega Genesis one, which is the one that I had, and the Super Nintendo one, which is the one that you would see people playing like on tournaments. So all these games are here. As of right now, only a few of them are going to have online though, which is kind of a bummer. Which is going to be the arcade version of Turtles, then the arcade version of Turtles in Time, the Hyperstone Heist, and then the Tournament Fighters. Though they didn't say which Tournament Fighters, so I'm not sure if that means all three or just the Super Nintendo one. I would assume at least the Super Nintendo one because that's the one that was like mostly known that people would like play in a tournament setting. Unfortunately, they did not say if it's going to have that good old rollback. I hope it does. So, but that's easily for me like was the biggest thing because we've never had like this type of collection for Turtles like before. Like it's never really been like, all right, we're getting like all these older games. It's usually if they have they re-released any of these? I don't know. Like I know they did like this. Ubisoft did like a Turtles in Time reshell that came out like back in like either the late 2000s or early 2010s for PS3 and Xbox. Um, it was all right. It's one of those games where you go from 2D to 3D, and 3D kind of just feels like it doesn't. It's the same background and not everything, but I don't know, something about like the 2D art style just feel like it has more life to it, and that's what I felt with that. But I don't think they've really re-released any of these in like another form. Well, of course, outside of the arcade one-up cabinets. But I think that's actually it. So for them to actually put all these in a collection, and it's going to be not only on PlayStation but also on the Xbox consoles, the Nintendo Switch, and PC, is great. It's being done by Digital Eclipse, which they're usually pretty good about it. So that's the one that I'm looking forward to getting the most out of anything that was shown. Yes, not the stuff that's coming out new, the stuff that came out like 30 years ago. That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Nice. I mean, honestly, as someone who didn't really play a lot of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle games and didn't even consume much of the like animated series as well, I can also recognize that this is a very juicy collection. It's a total of 13 games across arcades and consoles and etc. So it's a really really good collection for fans of the series. And honestly, I'm here for gaming companies to remember like a lot of their legacy titles and things that they own the licensing to, and being like, let's just release that again. Let's just give people what they want in like a legit way. And I'm totally here for it. I'm totally here for it. Um, Personally speaking, the presentation did have a couple things that did actually pique my interest. I'm still very intrigued about Stranger of Paradise. I feel like the more that I hear about it, the more it sounds like it's gonna be one of those games that's like so bad that it's so good kind of thing, because it definitely feels like I've already read a few, not reviews, but like people who've played the demo, which I haven't gotten to yet, but people who've played the demos, and people who've like read about it and seen like other presentations that have been done about the game, and it seems like there's gonna be a lot of like stuff for Final Fantasy fans as far as like Easter eggs and like locations. I've already seen screenshots from locations that I'm not gonna spoil for anyone who might be interested in the game, but that are locations either inspired by locations from other Final Fantasies or like actual recreations of those locations, which I think is really cool. I'm very intrigued about this. It definitely seems like it's going to be a game that I feel like wants you to think it's gonna take itself seriously, but I think it's gonna like do that thing where it exaggerates how much it takes itself seriously to the point where it becomes kind of like camp. So I'm intrigued about that, and I think it could be a fun introduction for like the Souls like type of gameplay that I haven't gotten into myself, and I think this could be like a good introduction to that genre. Um, Especially with a franchise that I'm already familiar with. So I think that could be really fun. Forspoken, I'm intrigued. It looks good, but also gives a little bit of a Final Fantasy 15 crunch to it, because it's the same engine. So it gives a little bit of that crunch, but it
The
does
same
look,
engine as 15.
yeah, it's
Ooh.
Luminous. I think so. It's the same production team, so I think it's like the same engine. It's the Luminous production that they did for 15. So that's why the game is like open world, and even the combat, as far as like, the zip zoom in that she does, it's very reminiscent of Noctis from 15. So hopefully this is one of those things where they take what they've learned from 15 and they apply it and make like a way better game. And it seems like the game has gotten delayed maybe two times already, or at least one time. So I think they're taking their time as far as like making sure that it's polished and that it will be good. Hopefully, we'll see. um Gundam Evolution looked good to me. I think they're doing like, I think they're still in like their beta stages or something like that as far as like PC goes. So I'm already signed up. It kind of looked like Overwatch, like the UI and stuff like that. As I kind of looked at it, I was like, this is kind of giving Overwatch. So I'm intrigued by that too, because I think it could be a fun twist on like an FPS game. Um, Other than that, um, oh yeah,
Well, there's Diofield.
I was just
I'll tell you that, was that the one that we all thought was going to be? Wait, is this the one or is it something else? No,
Diofield
that's
is the one that looks like Final Fantasy, like it could be a Final Fantasy Tactics
oh,
type of
that's not
game.
it. I was thinking of the one where it looked like it was going to be a new Dino Crisis,
Oh
and
my
it's
god.
not.
I wasn't even gonna bring that one up. Exo Primal, that was the biggest like disappointment for me, because I saw like dinosaurs, and then I saw like a female character that looked like she could be the protagonist from Dino Crisis. And it's also like, oh my god, not Konami, Capcom.
Capcom.
So I was like, oh, Dino Crisis. I was getting excited for it, and then it fully wasn't. So there's that. Um, but yeah, I'm very, very excited for the last couple games here from the PlayStation blog. I forget if they were the last two announced, but Diofield Chronicle, really interesting to me. I adore that type of like tactical RPG moment. I'm already playing the demo for Triangle Strategies, but this is a little bit different as far as like the appearance, like the aesthetic of the game and all that stuff. It's also, it seems like it's more of like a real-time strategy rather than I mean, it should be turn-based, but also I think it's also kind of real-timey. So we'll see how that one
Okay.
works. And Valkyrie Elysium also looks pretty interesting. I'm not particularly familiar with the Valkyrie series. Like I know of it, but I've never gotten into any of their games. But I'm here for an action RPG moment with a female protagonist. I think it could be fun. I think if it's done well, it could be really good, and it could definitely be like one of my highlights. But to me, yeah, that I do have a lot to look forward to this year. There's a lot going on that I'm like trying to keep up with and barely being able to do so. So it should be fun to see how this is kind of going to unveil over the next few months as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me as far as the state of play. Is there anything that you would like to add, or something that you expected that you were disappointed by, or something you want to see maybe for a future one?
For state of play, not really. I mean, I don't have a PlayStation currently, so it's kind of like anything that they do is just kind of like. I mean, maybe it'll come to PC, maybe not, but I mean, it's nothing. I mean, that's pretty much it. But it's like I don't think they would probably announce that too much during a state of play to be like, okay, so we're putting this on, PC. So
Right.
unfortunately, it's usually okay. So what's coming to potentially PC? And I don't know. Like I don't like was it Valkyrie Elysium? Did I get it right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we was talking about how that could be coming to PC, but I've never like I think I played one that was on PSP for like briefly, but not a whole lot because I unlocked my PSP soon afterwards, and that was just got lost in that, so I did never finish it. So I mean, it is cool that that's coming back. So at least I'm aware of it. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
anything else? I mean, I would like to see more of what they would do with like PlayStation VR 2 because I do feel that that's next to like the Quest 2, that's like the most probably mainstream of a VR headset you can have, which is probably needed because I don't know, Oculus Quest 2 kind of just really came in and took over and it's like behind technology wise. And like the other companies kind of, I don't know if they're like just working on stuff behind the scenes or whatever else, but I would like to see more stuff with, I mean, Sony to put some more stuff out there too, maybe, and maybe compete with that. Maybe it's just that it's hard to compete with one where it's just one headset and that's it, compared to you got to buy this and then you have to buy the headset. I mean, people still having a hard time getting a PlayStation 5. So, I mean, getting a
Yeah.
PlayStation 5 and then a headset, that could be like 900 to $1,000 probably around that point. So that's going to be a bit tough. But outside of that, I can't really think of anything from Sony specifically that I would have really been looking for them to show off at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. I think like the main takeaway from a lot of these presentations for me is like the Googling after of like, oh, is this game going to be on other platforms? Because I have no intention of playing it on PS5 because I don't have one. And also, if I can get it in better quality on PC, I would rather do that than getting it on PS4.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it's like the best option you can have right now is to get a PlayStation 4. I get to get buy a PS4 again, but like, why would I? I don't want to do that.
right, yeah.
Again, those cost a little bit. Don't they still go for like $300? I think.
I have no idea.
I think it still go for quite a bit to where it's kind of like, why not save up a little bit more and get a 5 if you can find one? So
Yeah.
they still need to work on that, but
Yep. I mean, we are talking about PlayStation, and I do think that we can't just talk about it without addressing a lot of the allegations going on. Recently, as well, as far as mistreatment of women in the workplace. So, we're just talking about the presentation, and I mean, honestly, we're not like PlayStation stands or anything of the sort. So a lot of the excitement that you may see from these games aren't even like we're most likely going to play them outside of PlayStation. So it's very likely that they're probably not going to get a lot of our money, if any. But either way, definitely do your own research and look into it at your own, you know, discretion, because obviously those types of topics can be very triggering, and they can be very upsetting. And so yeah, all the love to everyone going through those hard times, and we definitely hope that that they get the justice that they deserve.
was that something that came up this week?
Yeah, I think there's been like I think it's like a work in progress kind of thing. It's like people are like slowly but surely coming out about like their experiences kind of thing. Um, but I think there just was like a new thing that came out like around maybe the day after the state of play or around that time. So everything just kind of blurred together a little bit as far as like the news goes. And I didn't get to look too much into it as far as the details go, but it's definitely something worth looking up and definitely something that is worth doing research on because I'm sure there's other places that are better resources than we could be for those types of things. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to kind of say that so that it's not like, oh, we're just talking about it as if nothing is going on or whatever. So yeah. Um, On to our special episode 69 section of the podcast. We were kind of thinking we would talk a little bit about like sexy game characters. Maybe, characters that were our, for me, like a gay awakening type of moment, or like characters that we had crushes on, or that we still have crushes on, characters that we want to crush us. Um, so I definitely have a lot of love and thirsty energy towards the Tekken franchise. Um, there's definitely now looking back, there's definitely several men from the Tekken series that I didn't particularly like playing as, but I liked looking at them. And I didn't, obviously when you're younger, you don't really have that, you don't really put two and two together like that. Um, but definitely in general, the cast from Tekken, which has been like obviously has rotated a lot throughout the years, but there's always been no shortage of shirtless men in that series, whether it was Eddie, whether it was Jin or Kazama or Kazuya. Ka-
Kazuya.
yeah, Kazama is their last name, right?
That's Jen last name because Kazuya's last name is Mishima because his mother name is Kazama, and I guess it's just how that worked.
Yes. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my god, who else was there from Tekken? King, I remember, was a shirtless
Shirtless,
eye
but he
candy.
wore a mask. 'Cause-
Yeah, but that's fine. Listen, masks are not, especially these days, masks are not really much of a restriction anymore or like a problem to me. But what about you? Do you remember having any early crushes that you remember as far as like game characters or any current ones that stand out to you? I'm also asking that so I can look up more for myself.
uh, early, of course, Christy from Tekken because I think she showed up in Tekken 4.
Yes, yes.
See, this was later on, but I would say like King of Fighters. Like I don't know, like look up like King of Fighters 2002 and the pictures they had, and then I'm like, it's like now that it's like I'm not straight. It's like okay, y'all was trying to do something. So the funny thing about that is so I started playing like King of Fighters 13. That was I played 12, and that was but I never played it that much because that game actually kind of really sucks, and we try to act like that don't exist. So it was more so 13. And I thought, oh wow, Ash is cute. And the ancestor was there as well. I'm like, okay, she's also cute. Come to find out that they're both men.
Well,
so I'm like, okay, so after that, it's like, well, might not be straight then.
there goes your heterosexuality.
There goes that. Oh yeah, that it became completely clear when I went to my first drag show because I had no. I don't know if I told you this story, but let's just say the first time I went to a drag show, I was not aware of what a drag show was, and I was dead ass wrong.
Oh
I thought,
no.
oh, actually, let me tell you this story. So this was like 2010 or so. And a friend was like, "Hey, let's go to the drag show." I'm like, "Okay." I'll go, and it was at a school, which I was kind of like, "That's." I wouldn't think it would have been there, but okay, it was a college. I'm like, "All right." So we go there, and I get there, and I'm just looking around. And I'm like, "Okay," and I'm like, and then I see the show starts, and I'm like, "Okay, this is cool," but there are no cars. I'm
I
thinking I'm thinking it was drag, like like a drag race. That's what I thought. I was so wrong. And then I'm
yeah.
like, oh. Also, I was aware. I was not that aware of RuPaul. I've seen, like, of course, if you go through TV Guide, you will see the commercials. So I had no idea, like, really what that was. So I'm thinking it was kind of the same thing where I was mentioning about, like, with Ash. It was like, oh, she's cute, and then you start like learning what that is, and I'm like, yep, definitely not straight because you can't go back after that. And it's like, well, you just might as well go all the way to the end. And then, like I said, and long story short, within 2 years, my journey to the dark side was complete.
Not the journey to the dark side.
I mean, the dark side has, like, cookies and cakes. So I mean, clearly, but yeah, that's the story. So yeah, that's the story on that one. If you want to, like, that was my awakening right there. Going to a show that I thought was something totally different.
Listen, it expanded your horizons in ways you never were able to recover from, and I love that.
I can't tell this was done on purpose or not.
Your friend was
Um,
like, "Let me see something. Let me test this theory that I may have."
she claimed she didn't know that I didn't know, but I'm like,
Oh,
I don't know, but okay. But
yeah.
on to back to video game crushes. Of course, Nico from, like, Devil May Cry, like, 5, which that game just looks great in general. But I was like, definitely an easy crush on there as well. Like I say, with King of Fighters, it was definitely like Eori for sure. Like, he has so much. Like, I don't know, the KOF is good as having a character like they have so much goddamn drip. Makes no damn sense.
Honestly, a lot
And
of these fighting games are just like peak fan service. No
it kind of
matter
is.
no matter what your sexuality is, fan service will be there.
Yeah.
Because I'm also like thinking like Street Fighter. I'm thinking like Marvel versus Capcom. I'm thinking, you know, Guilty Gear,
Right.
Darkstalkers. There's so many, even for female characters. And listen, I'm not sexually attracted to women like that, but no matter who you are in this world, if you haven't gotten hypnotized by Chun-Li's thighs, I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you do, and we need to talk.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of. That's multiple.
Yeah, we're probably gonna forget a lot.
Mortal Kombat 11, Liu Kang's model on that one. I say that because in every game they kind of look different. But Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat 11,
Another level. We're
it
just giving you a
really
lot of
is.
material, a lot of things for you to look up as you watch this, as you listen to us. I'm sure we're gonna forget so many.
It's hard because, yeah, it is. It's just like it's just way too many characters in these games.
100%.
Um,
Yeah. Well, we're just gonna say that for now. If we remember more in the near future, we can always write them down for 169. Oh, as I'm talking, Chris Redfield.
it's ref- what which one?
Oh, you
He looks different
know.
almost. The one in Village.
No. No, the one in 5 and 6.
Oh, the boulder punching one.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I wouldn't refuse the Resident Evil Village version either. I wouldn't refuse that man. But the the boulder slash backbreaker, as Dex is explaining in our chat. Very that, very that. That's definitely the
Border
top
breaker.
tier version.
Yeah.
Um, I'm
Oh,
not
this might be.
familiar. Oh, go ahead.
I'll say this might be cheating, but who cares? Cloud from Final Fantasy VII Remake with the mods that I've been seeing y'all do out here.
Yes, 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 yes. The crop top mods.
Right, with the tattoo, and well, I'm like, oh, okay,
Yes,
this is great.
yes, yes, yes. Do you know the origin story of the tattoo?
I do not. I just saw it. That was all I knew.
So what happened was someone, obviously, since Final Fantasy VII Remake came to PC, there's been a shit ton of mods. People have been putting Cloud in drag permanently. They're doing the most, and we love to see it.
Doing the Lord's work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's so funny because I feel like everyone assumed that like the female characters would get like extremely sexualized as a result, but Cloud has been the victim in quote unquote of all the modding that's been going on. So what happened was the modder that did the crop top, which thank you so much. I wish I had your username. I wish I could credit you right now, but there was a wonderful modder out there that created a crop top situation for Cloud, and they got a lot of kind of criticisms and complaints from people being like, "Oh, cover him up, like he's too exposed." And then they covered his stomach with a tattoo that
Not
made him look
exposed
even
enough.
hotter. And
I mean,
so,
if it was Tifa, they wouldn't have been complaining. So I mean, I'm just
right,
saying,
absolutely,
I wouldn't
absolutely,
be either.
You're correct. Also, where's the Barrett mods? Now that
Was there a Sephiroth one?
I think I only saw a Sephiroth mod that was like people added clown makeup on him, but I I don't know if there's any like sexy Sephiroth mods out there. There probably are, but
There should be.
yeah, definitely there was. Listen, I've always been on the side of things as far as like Cloud goes that like he's cute, he's attractive. He's not my first choice as far as the Final Fantasy 7 like cast goes,
What
but
is your first
he's
choice?
well, let me tell you. It used to, well, I'm not going to say the polygon versions did anything for me, but like once things started getting to like 3D and stuff, my first crush was actually Zack because he's shirtless in Crisis Core at some point. I was like, "Oh, hello." Um, and then it evolved into like Barrett, and then I mean, I wouldn't say no to Sid either. But there was something about the remake that did something for me as far as Wedge and Biggs too, and I was like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
hello, hello, hi." And then obviously the Turk members as well, like Reno, Sang, and I forget Rude.
Rude.
That's yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, wouldn't say no to them either. Even freaking Heidegger, I was like, damn, I'm not supposed to like you, and you're hateful, but damn, they made you kind of hot.
I mean, you can. Hey, it's okay to like them physically and not their personality.
Especially because they don't exist. So,
Right.
there's also that.
Yeah,
I'm
Final
sure.
Fantasy definitely like a place like where you can find some attractive guys. Like 15 was coming out, and like me and one of my friends, I don't know why she was trying to like fight me over Prompto. I'm like, I'm sorry. That's sorry. I don't know because now I take all four like Prompto, Noctis, oh my god, I can't think of
Gladio.
Gladio and Ignis. All four.
Yes, exactly. Like when people would ask me, like, which one of them, I would be like, yes,
Yeah, all four.
all of the above. Why make a choice? I'll just get in the car and I'll just be in the middle. And it's fine. We don't need to argue. There doesn't need to be a choice made. And personally speaking, I think they would be a lovely group of people to have like a polyamorous relationship with. Cause like, Prompto can have his thing going on with Sydney, and I can have my own thing going on with Gladio, and Noctis can, I guess, spoiler alert, his wife kind of dies.
Who? Oh, wait, Gladio had a wife?
No, Noctis. Luna Freya,
yeah.
the girly, yeah.
Oh, yeah, her. I forgot about her because she's so... Anyway, whatever.
Because she was one of the most important parts of the game, and they gave her zero importance and camera time.
I felt nothing about that part. I was like, all right, so this happened, but hey, there's this boss fight afterwards against Leviathan.
It was very like, oh, she passed away. Okay. Anyway,
the story that wasn't great, but the characters look great, and yet Sydney, she looked great too.
I loved her. I know that she was like such like ridiculous levels of fan service, but I kind of liked that it was so exaggerated that I was like, I feel like this is a caricature at this point, and I kind of love that.
Yeah.
So there's that. The Final Fantasies in which the cast is actually adults, I'm like, yes. Because there's a few of them that like I remember having a crush on as a kid, and then as an adult looking up like the characters and whatever and being like, oh, like for example, most of the cast in 8 are all like 17. And I was like, oh, well, this doesn't make things fun for me as an adult.
Right. It kind of could be a little bit weird, but plus as you get older and you start liking, those who are also older as well. But
oh, absolutely. I'm like,
I haven't seen much of the characters from 8 outside
the
of
teachers.
Yeah, what was her name? Didn't she have a whip?
Oh, she was also their age. I think she was 18. Because she was like listen, Final Fantasy VIII is a whole can of worms. And we shan't get into it, but yeah, all of the main cast for 8, excluding Quistis, is all 17 as far as I remember. And that plays into the story and all that stuff, so there is that. Dex in chat is saying, I only liked older men, so I don't know what that feels like. Well, you see, when I was a teenager, they were either my age or older than me.
She's 18.
Yeah. Quistis is the only one, I think, from the main cast that is slightly older than them. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Like I remember also having a crush on like Tidus growing up, and then he's also 17 as well as Yuna, and it makes the whole storyline with Yuna way weirder now with Seymour and like the marriage thing. So yeah, the casts that are actual adults from the Final Fantasy franchise, very very good, very very good. And with that, I don't think we can think of other characters right now to be thirsty over, but I'm sure y'all have plenty. So definitely let us know in those YouTube comments, on our socials, and all of that fun stuff. As we move on to our last section of the podcast, which is what we've been playing. What have you been playing, Koga?
I have been playing the obvious, and that is Dokkan, because the World Tournament is this week, and it's the worst fucking mode in the whole game. And it's on the weekend, which makes it even worse. I hate it. I wish they would revamp it, but they don't, and the rewards just make sense. So I did it like, this is how annoying it is. Like, I do it like because I work from home, so I just do it like while I'm working, right? And I'm like, okay, done. And I went to bed. I was like ranked 11, like no, 9 locally. Woke up this morning and I'm 14. And it's like, there's some people who really sit and do this like the whole weekend, I guess. And I'm just like, I just wanted the rewards. That's it. But it's boring because it's like, it's just repetitiveness, and it's you doing it to, instead of it being like, okay, you stop here, it's you keep doing it because you're trying to place, but these other people keep doing it, and it's like, that's fuck no, I'm good. But outside of that, I have still been playing Elden Ring. I haven't played it as much this week because I've been kind of busy, but it's, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish this game because it's huge. It's really huge, and there's no microtransactions in sight.
Yeah, which
like you
some
really
games
think
can't relate.
Yeah, when you think about that and how big this game is and how long it really is, like you just keep going other places and you're exploring. It's like, so this is an area that right there's more, and it's like yes, there's more, and then I mean there'll probably be like expansion they normally do except for Sekiro, but like it just never really felt like these games really needed an expansion. It's like it feels like what I liked about expansion passes like back like years ago where it was like you had a full game that felt complete and then you get more, not like a game it felt like it needed more, the DLC is the more, which is
Right.
what we get a lot now of. So outside of that, I was kind of playing on I was playing this Killer Instinct cabinet over here because I had to put in a new PCB. But outside of that, is that all I was playing? I think that's it. Well, no, I played Pinball FX3 a little bit. So I never got around to like downloading that, but they're like making another version, and they said that if you buy tables, some of them aren't gonna I guess go to the new version or whatever. And I'm like, well, okay, uninstall and wait till y'all do early access.
Well,
Yep. But that's pretty much it. I haven't gotten the F-Zero yet on the Switch that just came out for the N64 emulator. I'll be playing that later. But that's about it. That's all I've done. How about yourself? What you been playing?
nice. I honestly haven't really been playing too much. I downloaded a bunch of stuff that I've been meaning to play, but unfortunately haven't really taken much time to play anything. Listen, on stream, I'm on Final Fantasy 7 already. I died on Final Fantasy 1 through 6. I'm doing a little challenge thing where if I get a game over, I switch to the next game. Clearly, that hasn't been working out well for me because I'm already on 7. Um, but other than that, I started playing the Triangle Strategy demo, which is basically the first 3 chapters, and your progress will carry on over. Which I do like this trend of games doing that. I think it's pretty cool. Um, so far, I have been taking a lot of notes. Yes, I have. Some of the more important things, I guess, that I want to bring up that I probably didn't bring up during whenever I talked about the first original demo when I guess it was still called Project Triangle Strategy. Um, the voice acting isn't really doing it for me in English, so I really had to change to Japanese. It felt like the English voices kind of to me felt very like like sometimes when you're playing like a mobile game and the voice and like sometimes they have voice acting, but it's very like kind of lifeless. It's just like it's kind of there, like you're like people are
Yeah.
talking, but you're not really like feeling anything, or you're not really like or like
Yeah.
relating or anything. It's very like
Yeah.
lifeless. So
Yeah.
I did
That's
switch to yeah.
yeah,
I
that's the thing sometimes, and it's one of those things it's hard to talk about online because people get like really upset about it. But it just feels like it's more, I guess, up to the. Not sure if they had like the direction of what they were supposed to sound like or how the director had them do it or whatever. But there are some cases to where it's kind of like that can be a case, but it's not like back in the day, thank God. But sometimes
right.
in some games, especially on mobile, it's definitely a thing, or it's copy and paste depending on what game it is.
Yeah, for sure. Like so that was kind of the vibes that it was giving me. But once I switched to Japanese, the bad part about switching is that the game is like there's a lot of like cutscene type things, and you have to like manually, well, you don't have to manually switch like click to like confirm to like get away like the text boxes and to proceed, but there's an auto button which you can press so that whenever they're finished reading their dialogue, it already automatically moves the cutscene forward. But the problem with switching the voices is that sometimes with Japanese voices, sometimes the narration ends before you can, if it's like a larger like text box, you can't like you kind of miss the full thing. So it's either a thing where you have to like pay attention and you listen to the whole thing and then you wait until they're done talking and to move forward, or you just put it on auto, and then maybe if you're really interested, you can click on the log button and like read anything that you may have missed. Um, but then again, it could be just that it's the beginning of the game, so there's a little bit of exposition, there's a little bit of like introducing you to the characters and the setting and the world and all of that stuff. So it may get more like you may have more gameplay as you move forward. So I'm not gonna fault the game on that. Because I'm literally at the beginning. I've only done one fight, but I've already seen so many cutscenes. So that's what I'm saying about that. But it looks really good. It plays really well. I really like that every time you get introduced to a character, they kind of give you a little bit of a quick rundown on like, okay, they're good for this. You should place them towards the back, or you should place them towards the front. They're really good at like healing. You should keep them like around other characters, or this character is more of the tank. You have them to protect the others. Like it's just very like quick to the point. You'll get the gist of which character is good for what and how you should operate on the field and stuff like that. So definitely like really really good as far as that goes. Um, can't say too much about the story or anything because I'm barely into it. So if slash when I get the full game, I'll give in-depth thoughts about that. But other than that, I've downloaded the Kirby demo and I haven't gotten to it yet, so I don't know what I have nothing to say about that yet. And I've also downloaded the free version of the Chocobo GP game, which there's been a lot of flack online, and I think rightfully so because the game is like $40 and it still has like a season pass and like an in-game currency and all that stuff. So I don't love that, but you can play the game for free. I think to a certain extent. I don't know what the extent is. I'll more details on that when I actually get into the actual demo. But yeah, I do want to try it out because the characters look really cute, and I do like that Mario Kart can have a little bit of a not a competition because the DLC is about to come out anyway and eclipse this game anyway. So it is whatever. I kind of feel bad for them, but at the same time, I'm like, you should have just made a regular racing game and gotten rid of any like season pass type of thing because that's just not cute. Especially because the apparently the latest kind of thing that people are like pointing out is that the currency that you purchase with your own money also like expires after like a certain amount of months or something. So like
So like you
that
have to use that currency within a certain time or it's just gone.
within like 5 months or something.
Yeah, that's better than Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Well, I don't know. It does. I think it does it. Like if you get like too many. No, that's different. It does it because if you get too many, like it's over 9,999 or something, it'll like put it in like a gift box or whatever, and it's like you have a certain amount of time to get it. But it's like,
Oh,
well,
okay.
it does that. But I mean, so in the chocobo racing thing, so is it like you do you like summon or something, and can you? Or does it like affect stats or like how
I
does that?
have no idea. I have no idea. I just know that the only thing that I've seen about it is that people were like, I paid $40 for this game and it's filled with like ads, not ads like, you know, in-game ads, like, them being like, here's a season pass, play as Cloud in our season pass and like in-game currency that you can purchase. And it's like, that's what you would expect for a free game, not from a game that you pay money for. Because like the point of you spending money on a game is that you would already have what would be assumed to be like a season pass or what would be assumed to be like unlockable content. So that's not a I'm not a game dev, but that doesn't seem like a good way to go about things. Um but yeah, other than that, like yeah, I haven't really been doing too much. I have my little mobile games that I get into. But other than that, like it's been pretty chill on my end. There's just been a lot of stuff that I want to get into, especially like the Stranger of Paradise demo. Uh Maybe I'll get into it on PS4 and I'll just restart my playthrough on PC if I get a key for it or whatever. But we will see. I definitely do want to point out, and I don't know how many days will be left by the time this podcast will be up everywhere, but there is an itch.io bundle for a lot of like indie games. It's 900, like almost 1,000 games and TTRPG books and software and game dev resources and stuff like that that you can get for a minimum of $10, and it goes towards supporting Ukraine charities. So it's on itch.io. It's an indie platform for video games. It includes titles such as Skatebird, Backbone, Crosscode, Wonder Song, Inmost, Super Hot, a lot of like critically acclaimed games and a lot of popular games in the indie space, such as Celeste and A Short Hike. A lot of great games that you can get for a minimum donation of $10, and you will basically have games to play for a very long time. So I want to get into a lot of those too, and the organizations that they're supporting are the International Medical Corps and the Voices of Children. So both are supporting people that need assistance in Ukraine and people affected by what's going on with Ukraine. So if you can, it will be up for 5 more days as far as the time that we're recording this. So it should still be up by the time the podcast goes up. They currently have a goal of $5 million, and they're so close. They're at 4.5 million. So amazing, 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 amazing. And yeah, a great cause. Is this million or billion actually? This might be billion. There's a lot of zeros.
How many zeros?
So there's 6 zeros in front of a 5.
Then that would be million.
Okay. 5 million is the goal.
Okay.
So there you go. And you can gift it to people. You don't have to just spend the $10. If you can donate more, you can do more, and it will just be more of the amount that gets split between the two charities involved. And it's just amazing to see the gaming community coming together for this. And I know that there's also another bundle for that has to do with what happened in Texas as far as like trans laws and trans rights and stuff like that. So there's another bundle for that, but that one is TTRPG specific. But I wanted to bring those up because amazing causes, amazing games, and yeah, just good stuff and good deeds done within the gaming community. So yeah, before we go, thank you so much for watching and listening to the podcast. We will be back next week. And where can people find us until then? Koga?
Well, you find me or finding us, because you can find us here on like twitch.tv/Just Gaming Tingz. But if you're looking for me like directly,
yes,
you can find me at Twitch and Twitter at Koga_Jangles. Got it right this week. Imagine me messing up my own stuff. So yeah, that's where you can find me at. Still not streaming yet. Probably considering it soon, but I have no idea. I'm just gonna probably just play something and leave it at that.
Just follow the account and you'll know when the streams return. /when/if. We'll see. Yeah, you can find me at Project Ruby on Twitter, on oh my god, why did I also blank out? On Twitch, TikTok. No, TikTok is the Project Ruby. YouTube, Ko-Fi, yes, all of that. I usually stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 5 p.m. GMT. Well, I guess it doesn't matter any of that because times are about to change, the time zones and all that because of the daylight savings thing. So just follow my accounts and you'll know I'll be streaming on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Usually I might get my booster shot this Wednesday, so that might change things a little bit, but I'll keep you updated on my Twitter for sure. And yeah, like Koga said, we are at Just Gaming Tingz with a Z on most platforms. We are on Twitter, we are on Twitch, we are on YouTube. We don't have a custom URL yet, so please subscribe to our channel. and we are on most podcast platforms. So follow us on those as well, and keep listening. And I hope you keep enjoying us for hopefully 169 more episodes after this. Okay, y'all. Thank you so much once again. We'll be back next week. Bye.
Bye.